What's up everyone, Master Fox here today, and I just wanted to talk to you guys about some of the hyped up cards or some interesting cards coming in World Superstars very soon. I think it comes out this Friday, the 17th, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, let's just get into some of the cards that we'll be seeing in World Superstars. So the first one that I think is really interesting is a card called High Five This Guy, which is a trap card which gives you a lot of OTK abilities for XYZ monsters. It allows you to attack a second time with an XYZ monster that had already attacked, and then during the second attack, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step. So I don't think this card will have any meta impact, but it'll be interesting to see it in just kind of side builds and interesting OTK builds. Onto the next card that's coming in World Superstars that I wanted to talk about is Pendulum Impenetrable. It is a quick play spell card that allows you to essentially protect your pendulum scales from destruction. So this is really good because it will stop anything from destroying your scout or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see how pendulums shape up with this card, whether they'll use it or not. I'm not sure whether it'll be an instant staple, but I think if there's a pendulum deck that will be very good with it, it would probably be Ignites. They'll be able to use this pretty well for pendulum summons, and maybe other pendulum decks down the line that will be able to use the pendulum mechanic really well. They might think about using this card at least in the side deck. And then we have the long-awaited Chronomaly Nebra Disc. So Nebra Disc was a card that made Chronomalies essentially tier 1 in the OCG for a pretty decent amount of time. We didn't see any of this in the TCG at all because Nebra Disc is kind of the core of the deck, and he serves as the Stratos and the Wolfbark of the deck basically, although he summons himself rather than summoning another Chronomaly monster. But it's basically the same thing. He allows you to go into your extra deck really easily, and he really just makes the Chronomaly deck function at all. And in the OCG, the Chronomaly deck was run as a Chronomaly artifact deck using Moral Talk and Artifact Sanctum, but now seeing that Moral Talk has been hit in the TCG, I don't think Chronomalies will really be able to do anything now, which is kind of unfortunate because we never got to see the deck, but maybe Chronomalies will show up again in the future. I don't think that they'll be meta right now as they come out, but you never know. Then we have Augmented Heraldry. So this card is a field spell for Heraldrics, which already have a decent amount of support, but this is kind of interesting because it allows you to not only protect your XYZ monsters from being targeted by spell and trap effects, but it allows you to search for your Heraldry spell or trap cards from your deck. So this will give Heraldric decks a boost. And they already have a card that is basically a Monster Reborn too. And so with this card, I believe they're able to search it. So with this field spell, I feel like Heraldrics will be a very decent budget local style deck, maybe like for fun. So Battling Boxers get a bunch of support here. They get 3 cards in this set. They get a single monster here, which is Shadow, who allows you to trigger Lead Yoke's effect immediately, specialist summoning himself from the hand, which is really good in my opinion. Although Battling Boxers got really weak when Castell was released, who kind of basically negated their boss monster Lead Yoke, but I still think Battling Boxers are one of the better budget decks. And then they also got Jolt Counter as a counter trap, which is pretty good. The only thing that's bad about it is it's an Infernity Barrier that's only usable in the battle phase, which is usually not too much of a threat to Battling Boxers. The only thing that this stops, which is really good, is Dimensional Prison. I still think this is a card that Battling Boxers should run at 1 or 2 just to counter that Dimensional Prison, but it's not like an instant 3 of. And then they also got an XYZ monster, which is good considering that their only really good XYZ monster is Lead Yoke. This XYZ monster is actually pretty good. So they got Battling Boxer Nova Kaiser, who essentially allows you to attach Battling Boxers from the graveyard of your hand to him as XYZ material, and when he's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can special summon all of the XYZ materials, so it's a really safe investment. And Heroics get a bunch of support in this. Heroic Challenger Assault Halberd. This card can special summon itself from your hand, Cyber Dragon style, and it also can search a heroic card from your deck to your hand if it inflicts battle damage. So this card is a really solid addition to the heroics, which have kind of been lackluster in general in my opinion, but this card really is solid support for that deck. And they also got other support as well in Heroic Challenger Thousand Blades, which is a really good card. I think this is their best support yet. So this card allows you to search a heroic monster from your deck by discarding a heroic card, but you can also special summon this card from your graveyard whenever you take damage. So you're essentially plussing whenever you take damage, then you get him back from the graveyard to go into your rank 4s. Heroics also got a support in an XYZ monster named Heroic Champion Rangomian. This card is heroic support, but this card will be meta relevant in terms of being Satellar Knight support because it requires warrior type monsters, and this card is really powerful, gaining more and more effects with more and more XYZ materials that it has. And then one of the most anticipated cards is Elemental Hero Blazeman. So Blazeman allows you to add polymerization from your deck to your hand whenever he's normal or special summoned, and he can also send a elemental hero monster from your deck to the graveyard. So you can see where this is going. He works really well with Shadow Mist, and he should boost the Masked Hero deck up really well. Blazeman allows for a lot of different combos you can do with the deck, so it'll be interesting to see where heroes end up with Blazeman hitting the TCG. So Earth Shattering Event is one of those floodgate style cards that will be really good against Shaddolls and Burning Abyss, but the only deck that I can see really running it, possibly in the main, is Cleaflorts, if even they decide to run it in the main deck. It's a really good side deck card for them, I guess, but I don't think it'll be used in the main deck. And even in the side deck, there are better options as well in Shadow Imprisoning Mirror against these decks. So I'm not sure if this card will be used at all right now. But it's interesting for the future. I think this card will eventually one day pop up again. And then on to the last two cards, which I'm going to talk about, are the two probably most anticipated cards of this set. And these are Star Seraph Scepter and Star Seraph Sovereign. And these cards really allow you to accelerate your rank 4 engine, allowing you to go into quick 3 material rank 4s. And the main deck that's going to be using these are probably Satellar Knights. But Shaddolls will also be able to use this for quick rank 4s as well. So these two cards will probably have the most meta impact out of any cards in this set. So that's it for my thoughts about the cards coming in World Superstars. I think the meta will kind of shift a little bit with this set, but it's not a format defining set like the Secret Forces was. So tell me what you guys think about this set in the comments section below, and please give this video a like if you enjoyed it. And that's it for this video. I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you.